afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Monday, August 5, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have a time for change call Wednesday night, a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to talk about things on this planet that have never been discussed anywhere, period, ever. See, it's interesting because this civilization, we are specifically on a trek to discover or rediscover our true reality, our true existence, not the physical material. We use the physical material, these bodies, because there are certain things that we don't, as I've said, that we as gods in pure consciousness do not, how do you put it? We can't experience the material physical outside the material physical. So we enter these bodies, and of course these bodies are highly emotional for all of us in different ways. And this separation that we all are immersed in, separation everywhere, you look, and the material physical, and it all appears to be separate. So forever we enter these bodies, and then we experience these bodies and this life, and then we leave. And we do it again. And all of us, it's interesting. We have been in bodies during the time of the great deluges on this planet. We've been here so long reincarnating, rather than being able to, reincarnate in different forms and in different planetary systems. There are civilizations, humanoid, that, like here on this planet, we enjoy art and the entertainment and all the entertainment and art, discovery, and all that information. And see, there's other civilizations that don't like art. They don't like singing and entertaining that way. So they expel that from their civilization. I know it sounds strange, but see, there's a lot of variances and differences in how a civilization is trained and programmed to believe certain ways, so that those overlords that run the planet specifically can always be in charge while the civilization is under their boot, so to speak, without the civilization knowing about it. So you create a false world, so to speak, in an illusionary context. And when you do that, it's illusion, but us in the bodies, we believe the illusion to be the reality. And we don't understand that the illusion, all of us create the illusion so that we could experience the illusion. We experience things. Doesn't it make sense that you create things? Not that necessarily that we are consciously aware of it, but we constantly create things that are illusions. The illusions are played out by us in this life to experience and learn. That's it, period. That's all it is. It's not some huge grandeur. And you're going to be exposed to things that are going to come out of nowhere during this great transition. This evolution is basically what it is for this civilization. It's a major evolution. So one might say, well, okay, we come into the bodies, we leave the bodies, and we don't have memory. I get this a lot. What's the sense of coming in and not having a memory of past lives? And then we keep doing it over and over again. we were there during Pompeii and the eruptions on the planet and the destruction, and we were here when the Anunnaki came in and all of the other species from this galaxy. And we had lives, and we experienced lives, and we left them. And when we leave these bodies, after we leave the body, our memories fade quite quickly that we aren't aware of, but we forget a lot of things while we're in the physical, material life experience. And they fade, so we don't remember. It's kind of like we have this amnesia that kind of steeps in. Now, why is that? Why is that? Well, if you have a bunch of gods that don't remember because they're being electrically zapped all the time, so when you come into a physical material body, your memory, at about 99.9% of the time, of your past, the past life that you left, and now you're in a new one, you don't remember. So you don't make any comparisons. You can't. How are you going to make a comparison? So we come in as if it's the first time every time. And then the programming starts, and we're kept in this box for our whole lifetime, and then we leave. Right? And we're taught to be more attached to the body. And if you understand that our experiences and everything are material physical, and we're steeped in material physical. We're not steeped in spirituality, which is our natural state of being. So it's like you saying, this black suit I'm wearing is me. This is me. All right? I'm not going to take it off because this is who I am. I am this black suit. And that sounds kind of silly, but the analogy plays out to be spot on, because that's how we look at these bodies, because we're in these bodies, all of us, and we lose sight of the fact that we know that the bodies are temporary, but we don't look into that, and we fear leaving the body because many of us don't know what's next, because we haven't had the knowledge, gained the knowledge, to understand it's transitory. So eventually on this planet, all of us will become so aware that it's just like putting on a set of clothes. We'll put the body on, and we'll experience physical material life, and we'll create our experiences, create events and things in our lives that we will experience. Most of them are not conscious, aware. It's through the God in the universe that does this, that basically takes care of us while we're in these bodies. And when you realize that we've been in servitude from the standpoint of being slaves in this civilization since the beginning. Now, when a civilization is steeped in that, but also made to believe that they're free, it's an interesting paradigm. And when we do that, this cycle continues. Now, why does that happen? Well, it means that you have ample amount of gods, omnipotently supreme beings that never die, that have unending energy. So if you need that energy, you want to make sure the gods keep incarnating on whatever planet, okay? And so when you do that, you control it. You control the flow of energy. The photon light energy, the deep eternal love light energy, the peace, the joy, all that we're made up of as gods in these bodies. So now when that happens, there's plenty of souls to cultivate. We're like a manufacturing facility of souls on this planet. Now, none of us know that because of how things are orchestrated, designed, and how it's all structured. Doesn't it make sense that we are free beings, gods that we are? We can go anywhere we choose. It's like when Mars' surface of that planet was blown away, and their gravitational force was decimated. So you couldn't have life on, so to speak, at that time, life on that planet, because it was totally destroyed, the surface. Waters were drained. There was a lot of things that happened. And so what do you do with those souls? You got to keep the flow going, right? So all the souls that we used to incarnate on Mars incarnate here on Earth. And not only that, we have souls that incarnate here that other civilizations, like I said, they don't care to have singing and poetry and music and painting and any of that stuff, sculpting and stuff. They don't like that. I know it's strange, but that's the perception of that particular civilization. So they extract those souls and they direct those souls here to this planet. And then those souls incarnate here. Now, they didn't originate incarnation here, but they were kind of directed here. Some of the planets that through existence have been destroyed, so those souls are directed here. So this is why we have such a plethora of just the diversity is off the charts. Most of the diversity comes from improper programming for control factors. So they keep our understanding suppressed. They keep us artificially separate from the gods that we are. And so we go into these bodies and we live thousands and thousands of lifetimes here on this planet. We don't know any different. And then they have to eliminate our memory each time, because if they didn't, we would have recall. We would know all of our past lives, every one of them, because they're ours as gods. We experience them. Doesn't it make sense that we should have this grand hall of knowledge, each of us, to access whenever we choose? It doesn't make sense that we don't have any access to that. We're free gods. We're truly free as gods, but not as people. Nowhere near as free as people. So all this put together is putting it as simply as possible. This is our status right now. And this is why more and more of us are discovering, because we will have total access to all of our past lives. Okay? Not only that, we will have access to all of our future lives. Because as you're living this life, in this very now moment, you're living future lives. It's all one ocean, remember. It's all one golden ocean. And everything, all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond and forever, is part of that ocean. Different variances, variables and this and that. So in order for us to discover this, and some are on this planet, they're starting to peel it back. And they're putting two and two together. They're getting more and more creative. And remember, we're creators. So this brings us closer to the God we are. We get more creative. We don't get cynical and negative. That's ego mind. And we start realizing that the ego mind has been put there to wake us up. And so we begin to look at the ego mind differently. It's never been our enemy. But we've never understood it. There isn't a psychologist on this planet, psychiatrist, clinical or otherwise, that can figure it out. They think they have, but they haven't come even close to it. And it's our discovery, each of us, to choose to discover our God that we are, to have this intimate relationship in meditation with this universe, to know that we are always protected, we are always cared for, and we are always deeply, eternally loved, period, across the board. Never not. But see, true generations, we have been taught the opposite. We have been taught that we're all alone. Okay? We have been taught that we don't have any abilities, that we aren't supreme, omnipotently powerful supreme beings that never die. That has been eliminated on a grand scale over thousands and thousands of years from this civilization. You can understand that thousands and thousands of years, even millions of years, this is how we've been programmed. So how would we know any different but to believe that this is the way life is? And you've heard that, and you've probably said it yourself at times. Hey, it's just the way life is. Take it or leave it. Okay? And it isn't. We create the life. You know why? Because we are the God. And what is life? Life is God. Life is pure consciousness. That's why when you've heard me share that wherever any of us look, doesn't matter where it is, we're nothing specifically. We just kind of glance or look over. You might stare at a corner, some empty space. You might stare up in the sky. Wherever you're focusing yourself, particles appear. Okay? You are creating. Now, energy, which is a misconception on this planet, they've just completely destroyed the understanding of energy. And what is energy? Energy is everything. How can there not be energy when everything is energy? You see what I mean? How can we on this planet be tricked for generations that, oh no, you have to pay for energy in order to live? Not really. Okay, most people believe that though, but more and more people are saying we don't need that because we can cultivate our own energy, and that's called living off the grid. Okay, but see, we are pure energy. How do you think we create particles out of nothing? That's how we do it. We're pure, unadulterated energy. Cosmic energy. We are pure, deep, eternal love. I'm not talking about romantic love. This is a much higher love. And to decipher that is difficult for us because we don't have any kind of a launching pad. We go through life, we discover, we learn, we experience. Every one of us do differently. And the longer we're in these bodies, the more we learn and experience. But see, our cycle of being allowed in these bodies is very small. It's minuscule. It's ridiculous. You know, people leaving the body in their 50s and 20s and 80s and 90s is absolutely absurd. But see, again, when you don't have memory of past lives, you don't know. You don't know. After a while, you get inclinations. You kind of start figuring it out and saying, you know, I must have done this in a past life. And that's a good thing because you did. You did. And that's why at times we're so familiar with things. We didn't have the twisted education on the planet that told us that. We just discovered it. It kind of seeps through at times. All of us have done so many different things. We've been carpenters. We've been farmers. We've been executives, so to speak. We've been leaders. We've been bad. We've done destruction. We've done negative things. We've done it all. We've got to do both, yin and yang. Got to learn it all. Got to learn both sides. We don't have to, but it's what we do. We don't care to be a bunch of mud slugs swimming around for eternity. We want to advance. We want to experience. Now, all this time on this planet, we have been steeped in a material physical world. Not saying it's bad, because it isn't. You know, once we discover the joy of it and how wonderful and how deeply grateful we are to be in these bodies, it's really fun and it's exciting. But we do it and we create constantly 24/7 without fail. Most of the time we don't know. We don't know that we created something by focusing over here. But see, when you focus and then you look away, then all the particles disappear. It's like seeing but not seeing. This is why everything on this planet we created. Did we create the planet? Yes. When I mean we, I mean the entire golden ocean. We created it. Why did we create planets? So that planets can house life or God. So all the planetary systems are God. Or if you want to get more technical, gods, pure consciousness, spread out as one across all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, forever. And we take steps through evolutionary jumps, both as gods and in these bodies. So you've read or probably heard stories about different species that you never knew existed on the planet that you were reading, and you found out that, wow, this species once existed and flourished on this planet. I never heard of it. Or you might come across plant varieties that have long gone extinct. That blows your mind on their medicinal properties and what they were able to do. So we've got all of these advanced gods and bodies with no memory. You use them for energy to actually run everything to keep them imprisoned and separate the material physical in an illusionary fashion, because you can't separate. You separate the material physical from the spiritual, and the spiritual is the root of the material physical. Now, not to confuse anyone, but right where we're at as a species in this very now moment, we're on the edge of making a massive evolutionary jump. We did this, the first phase of it, 3,600 years ago, rough, maybe 28, in between there. And the entire civilization became conscious. One might say, well, you mean to tell me that none of us were conscious then? No, we weren't. This is why I've talked about bicameralism, and how we were then is, and we see smatterings of it even now in this moment on this planet. But bicameralism is a right and left brain being, which means the right and left brain communicate with one another strictly, and that being needs to be led, told what to do, supervised their whole life. And that's what's happened on this planet for a very long time. So when you start to see this by standing outside of it, like I say, leave the mind ego alone, and you watch. You're watching from the heart mind, and you're seeing all this, and you're picking out things. And remember, you're not an ego mind, you're a heart mind. You're not judging anything. You're just watching. And this is where you start to pick up little kernels of understanding and knowledge. And you start gathering enough of those, it starts forming a really clear picture. And this is why when we look at this planet and we see what's happened over the last, let's say, 8, 12 years, which has been highly accelerated, we see it. Everything we see. And it doesn't mean that there's those of us, as we well know, that just aren't there. They're still they're in another place, experiencing their physical material lives. We're not there. We were, all of us. Some of us have decided to leave that. We'll never leave it. I'm talking not literally, but figuratively, because we always carry the memories. And we'll begin to discover that, like I said, you're going to master your ego mind. That's part of our transition. And the ego mind will become your servant. It'll be a good one. But then you continue to evolve in spirituality. So you keep ascending, and you go through these phases, which are wonderful. because we have more experience. As gods, we're the only thing that's real. And for this civilization to embrace that is very important. That we create everything outside of us so that we can experience it. Doesn't that make sense? And we do certain things with the universe because we are the universe is us, where we aren't aware of these things that we create that are in our lives, that we have these different things that show up. And we go, wow, and you might say to someone, well, you manifested that. No way, Jose. There's no way I manifested that. I'd have to be off my rocker to manifest that and experience that in my life. But here it is. So and then we start embracing that because we look at it from a different perspective, rather than how we've been programmed on this planet, which is all wrong. It's all, let's put it this way, it's in the opposite direction of what we are. And we become more aware and more aware that we are gods, without a doubt, in these bodies, pure consciousness, and that we're divine perfection, we're the only thing that's real. So we create this stage here on this planet. Who created the holographic universe that we're in? We did. Oh, someone might say, well, the Builder race and all this stuff. Who do you think created the Builder race? We did. And when I say we, again, it's the golden ocean. It's the collective consciousness of all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Trillions of us. Trillions. Gigaplexes of us. All different shapes and sizes and configurations. Some of us in gaseous form. Right? Some of us just pure light form. Some of us in the form of trees. Some of us in the form of planets. We're everywhere. And we create. What's the purpose of all this? To continue to advance into higher levels of divine perfection. Then we will move out of consciousness. In other words, beyond consciousness. See, it's not like, oh, we're done here. We're done with everything. We will not exist. We will move beyond consciousness, and there's a whole nother experience there. We'll move beyond the realms of dimensionality. That we created. There's 1,000 of you having, at this very moment, 1,000 of you having variant lives in other dimensions. Some call them parallel dimensions. They're just existences. So you're experiencing different lives, and you may have different friends, you might have a different, hair, whatever, but it's you, the God that you are. And how many Bill Johnsons are there in the next 1,000 dimensions? 1,000 Bill Johnsons living out lives. That's what all this is. See? It's our playground. We play. We create. Well, then one says, well, why are there wars? And why is all this death and destruction and pain and sorrow and anguish and poverty? It's an experience. I know that sounds strange. But imagine if we all just decided as gods, we were just going to have a cakewalk. We knew everything that was going to happen. We manifested whatever we wanted at the blink of an eye. And that's how we existed. Would we learn? No. We wouldn't after a while. We wouldn't. We'd be like, zombies. That's not fun. So why would we care to do that? We don't. So we continually progress. It's just like right now, all of us are experiencing all these feelings and emotions that are swimming around in us. We're guessing and wondering and trying to assume, supposize, whatever, to make head or tails of everything. Now, we have a choice to go deeper spiritually. That's going to be our evolution. We will become a spiritual civilization. In other words, we will know that we're gods without a doubt, and we will operate while in these bodies from the heart mind. The God that we are will be front and center. There will be no wars. There will be no conflicts. There will be no hatred. There will be no evil. There'll be evil, but it'll be low. It'll be there, but it won't do anything. So we have this. We're always going to learn. We will always create things that will challenge us, that will be presented to us by us, the gods that we are. And that's really cool. We'll leave the fear, because that's the ego mind. You probably have met people that you've sensed don't seem to have any fear. Haven't you? You sense it, you pick it up. You know, it's not blatant type in your face, but you say, you know, that they don't seem like they have any fear. Because they've discovered the fact that nothing really can harm them. Oh, that can harm the body. Not if you are with the God. You can constantly protect yourself. You can literally be indestructible. And then you can leave the body when you want to leave it. We are eternal beings that never die. We're supremely powerful beings. Now, a lot of people struggle with that because of the ego mind has its claws into them. It controls them. We don't have to prove anything to ourselves or anything outside of us. We've been there and done that thousands of times. It's superfluous. So what are we doing? It's all about you. The reason it's all about you is that it's your discovery that you are the God and not the body. It is, and then what happens? Then the body becomes what? Immortal. And it stays immortal as long as you want to stay in it. As long as you choose to stay in it. It's not that way now, is it? Oh, God, why did you take him away or her away? Say, I beseech you. You, the God, didn't take anything away. Now, you in physical form, not knowing that you are the God, took your body away. See? And it might be prematurely. Now, let's say, for example, you have a child very young, so many months, and that child, through the system on the planet, you're told that by society that you need to vaccinate that child, protect it from all this engineered stuff. So as a parent, not being aware, you feel that's the best thing to do. So you have now that baby body can't do anything. It's too vulnerable. And so it's at the mercy of whoever is the caretaker or the caregiver to that baby. And so the baby gets 90 vaccinations, 100. And so then the body, as a baby, the body will start deteriorating very, very minutely until it starts showing up in adulthood and later on. Autism, Down syndrome, all these things that are literally created through vaccinations. And so the parents, due to their ignorance, don't know that. They think that they're doing the right thing. And so that child will have that body will have an imperfection, anomaly. And then the actual system that has been created supports that and keeps it there. As the people begin to realize their true power, that will not exist. All these things that we've experienced lifetime after lifetime, will not be. The reason is why is that? It's because we move to a much higher vibrational frequency. We do. Okay? It's not the galactic central sun. All right? It isn't outside of us. It's within us. Everything is within us. Everything outside of us is because of what's within us. So there's the only thing that saves us is us. Does that make sense? You're a God in that body. You're a supremely powerful mortal being that never dies. And when you discover that and you really embrace it, it's not a joke or something, it's the real deal. And then you completely shift. You don't judge. You're not in a negative direction. Ego mind is your servant, not your master. And then eventually the ego mind, it goes into peace for its first time in its entire existence in all your lifetimes. It becomes peaceful. And at that point, it disappears. It did its work, it did its job wonderfully well. And then it's gone. Because then at that point we don't need it. So in the quiet time of this meditation, it's for us to comprehend. This is where many of us are going. In fact, we're on our way there now, each step of the way. And again, it isn't a race, right? No one's going to beat anybody. That's all ego mind anyway. But no one's going to beat anybody. It's crazy. And by doing that, we've decided to turn the planet into a God planet paradise in a fifth dimensional frequency, which we have created by choosing to do so, some subconsciously and some consciously. And the more that we focus on that, the more it will be. It is a proven fact. There's no debate. Oh yeah, some of the scientists have tried to debate it, but superfluous. And so why is all this stuff? Was it there 100 years ago? Yeah, it was there 100 years ago. Did any of us ever see it? No, not really. A little bit here and there, but nothing like now. What has excited that? We have. The gods that we are, the collective consciousness. Why? How is that happening? Our vibrational frequencies. We're stepping into higher and higher frequencies of deep eternal love, gratitude, right? Gentleness, kindness, and generosity with ourselves, and humbleness. And by doing that, our frequencies keep going up. It's not like we're going, oh, if I increase my frequencies, I'm going to get a lot of goodies. It isn't that way. It's not what you get out of it. That's what you are. You don't need to get anything out of it because you are. I am. And then that's why you see all this crap floating on the surface now, right in your face. The craziness and everything. That's what happens. That's what happens to low vibrational frequencies. When your frequencies keep getting higher, theirs are absolutely scattered. They're in absolute deep panic. They're just freaking out across the planet. And they're doing crazy things, revealing all of it. And it's due to us. Now, eventually, we're not going to eat. We've been there so long. We know what it's like. That's why the progression is this way. Others will come in, go through the same process, get to a point where they start understanding more and more that all their answers are within them. Okay? All their answers are within them. And so that's where they end up going. And then they start discovering how powerful they are because they're in the heart mind. They don't have mind chatter anymore. They don't have worry, stress, and fear anymore because the ego mind is their servant. You see how all this is evolving? Right before our eyes. It's like one of us might say, well, I didn't have anything to do with that. Little old me? Oh, the heck? What do you mean little old you? You're a God in the body. And you're experiencing this physical material life like all of us are. What makes up deep eternal love? You do. What creates all these different emotions and feelings? You do. What the heck for? To experience them. I'll join you in a meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Focus on your breath rising and falling. Be as still as a statue. The mind can get too busy worrying about the future and lost in its stories about the past. Whenever you come from fear, you narrow your vision and stop seeing the bigger plan behind it all. The heart can become deaf, unable to listen to our intuition, which is only available in this present moment. Step more fully in this moment, and you will feel much more relaxed about everything. And of course, in the end, things will work out. They always have, and they always will. Trust this feeling today and really let go of the endless tension inside this worrying machine. Love your lost, empty parts. Sometimes it just happens that we get caught in doing so many things in this life that we forget to truly take care of ourselves. At the end of a hard day, we can feel very empty, unloved, or feel like we are lacking something essential. Do not worry. This happens to every one of us who is human. Yet, when you try to fill that emptiness with something like a substance or an upbeat person, a fun activity, a new purchase, or hours scrolling on your phone, you can feel even more drained, depressed, empty, and lifeless. You know that trying to fill these deep, empty holes with goodies from the outer world never actually works. Sure, they can temporarily make you feel somewhat satisfied, yet the emptiness will soon return. Remember, this is a divine emptiness inside you, and it's an essential part of the great cosmic mystery. So we need something much deeper, bigger, more magical to permanently fill this black hole. The only thing that works is surrendering to the connection with your infinite spiritual essence. It's good to know this essence is always within you, and it is always experienced when you practice accepting these lost, empty parts and make the light the very center of your life again. It's always good to remember that the all-intelligent universe is so ingeniously designed that it can never, ever make a mistake. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. And open your heart and allow the magic to flow in. We will return here Tuesday, August 6th, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call.